This is the story of the Batman Who Laughs, who returns in his own comic series from the Dark Knight storyline, where he's first introduced into the universe as a dark and more sadistic version of Batman who was infused with the Joker's toxin after he had killed him. But don't worry, as the Batman that actually kills the Joker is from Earth -22, whereas this story takes place on Prime Earth, also known as Earth Zero, just so you guys are all caught up with the multiverse shenanigans that takes place in the story. But we'll of course cover everything when it makes itself apparent in the story. But for now, let's get started with the first issue of the comic, which opens up to Bruce reminiscing about his childhood, about his happiest memory that he has that also seems to be the oldest that he can remember, as he describes him playing a game with his parents and Alfred, as he mentions remembering the smell of the cut grass, the bright red sun like a bloodshot eye peeking through the bars of the roof. But the thing he remembers the most is the strength of their arms holding him back, and above all, the laughter. All of them laughing like lunatics as the sky darkened behind the manor. But that fond memory ends just as fast as it started, as we're brought to the present day, where we see Batman in the pursuit of a truck carrying a house-type structure with a bunch of armed shooters on it. But before Batman is able to take any action against it, the truck runs over two civilian vehicles on the highway, to which Batman acts as fast as superhumanly possible and grapples both cars with his bike, pulling them to safety. Batman then proceeds to actually engage on the truck, and as he does so, he explains more about the situation that we're looking at here. As before this, he had heard about a smuggling ring from an informant on the street, as they used extreme load trucks to carry contraband from Gotham to the outside world. And word on the street is that they've been smuggling bodies outside of Gotham that came into the morgue unidentified, which Batman fully engages onto the gunman on the vehicle by using a batarang to short circuit the engine, as he proceeds to smash his way into the structure they were standing on. And the moment he gets inside, he scans around to find a coffin, presumably containing one of the bodies the smugglers were taking out of the city. And when he opens it up, he's met face to face with himself, as the body inside the coffin is actually of Bruce Wayne, which yes, I know is really weird, but we'll get to that soon enough. But now we're transitioned to the Gotham morgue, where we see Batman disguised as a doctor looking over the body of Bruce Wayne, describing the body to Alfred. But just seeing him dead on the table is enough to make Alfred unnerved to the point where he can't even concentrate, which forces Batman to calm him down, but tells him that they don't have much time, as the real doctor is passed out in the corner and could wake up at any moment. But now that they're back on task, Batman says that as far as he can tell, the body on the table is him, as he finds that the scars on his body match the same ones of his own from his early years. But the one thing that distinguishes this Bruce Wayne from the one on this earth is that he doesn't have the whole history, as Batman sees that this Bruce Wayne only has his scars up to a certain point in time, as Alfred also realizes that he doesn't have any of the scars developed in the last few years. He's Bruce Wayne, but a Bruce Wayne who chose a different path at a crucial juncture, and Batman is able to track back exactly when that crucial juncture occurred, and that's when Bane broke his back, where Batman breaks his back in a similar manner like in the Nightfall storyline. Batman then explains that this Bruce Wayne retired from being Batman after that incident and found a different way to help Gotham, specifically participating in civil projects, improving the city to protect it. He was also married on this world, according to the indentation in his fingers, and had a child because of the tattoo he had with the name May, that Batman says is the name he would have suggested to Selina if they ever had a daughter. But most important of all, Batman points out that this Bruce Wayne was happy, from the smile and laugh lines on his eyes and mouth. He then makes the realization that a foe he once fought before has returned and tells Alfred that he needs to leave now before anything bad happens. Which brings us back to Arkham Asylum, where we see Batman rolling up to two police officers and absolutely slashing them into oblivion, killing them both. Three of the guards then appear at the scene, with one recognizing that it's Batman and saying that it really can't be him because Batman doesn't use guns, as Batman turns around and says he does now, revealing his entire arsenal in front of them as he holds up an assault rifle and opens fire. He then moves throughout the entire asylum, killing all the inmates and officers as he gets to the final cell, which so happens to be the Joker's. Joker asks if he's here to actually kill him this time, which Batman says no, as the Batman Who Laughs enters the room and reveals he will be the one doing the deed. And in a very rare moment, we see Joker actually being desperate for his life, as he suggests to the BWL a partnership, thinking they would be able to work together. But of course, BWL wants absolutely nothing with him, saying that it's a kind gesture, as he shoves his scythe right through the front of his face, killing him. Or so we thought, as Batman reveals that the person in the cell at Arkham was actually a decoy, as Batman says that the Joker must have known that BWL was coming for him. And when Batman arrives back at the Batcave, he tells Alfred to undo the waterway security system, as he deduces from the names of the decoys Joker used at Arkham, he would be at the place where the happiest moment of Joker's life took place. And as soon as the security systems were turned off, we watch as Joker emerges from the water, revealing to us that Joker actually knows Batman's identity as Bruce Wayne in the story. Batman then tells Joker that he'd be safe in the Batcave for the time being, but Joker responds saying that he doesn't want to be safe, and neither does Batman, as he pulls out a gun and actually shoots himself in the heart, as it's revealed that it was a trick gun that shoots backwards. Batman catches Joker as he falls and asks him why he did that, to which Joker tells him that the only way he can beat the Batman who laughs is to become him, as it's revealed that when Joker dies, his heart releases his Joker toxin, and with Batman standing over him, he gets hit straight with it, turning his face completely pale. And as Alfred rushes straight over to Batman, he asks him why he's smiling like that and that Joker is really gone. And as we see in the very next panel, and to end the issue off, Batman turns into Joker, laughing like a complete maniac over Joker's dead body. And this leads us straight into the second issue in the story, where it opens up to Alfred operating on the Joker's heart, attempting to keep him from dying. He tells Batman that the entire cavity is blood, nothing but blood, and even if he incurred the wound in an actual operating room, he'd still most likely die. He then suggests to keep Joker in a drug-induced coma while the Batman who laughs is in Gotham, which would technically keep him alive and not kill him, but it'd almost be like he is dead, as because of the drugs he wouldn't be able to see or move at all. Batman then says that he knows how much Alfred wants Joker gone, but he will not allow him to let Joker die, and they have much bigger fish to fry than the Joker, as the only way to beat BWL is by staying true to who they are, as we see in the very next panel Batman being hooked up to several needles, injecting himself with as many various types of Joker toxin antidotes as possible. Batman then tells Alfred that if he keeps taking them daily, they should stave off the transformation for about a week, maybe a little more, which Alfred becomes furious, saying that a week is way too long, to which Batman cuts him off straight up and curses him to shut up and get back to working on the Joker. This becomes a pattern throughout the comic due to the Joker's toxin kicking in and all, but Batman does apologize and says it's because when he sees the Batman who laughs, he knows that he knows everything Batman has gone through and there's nothing he won't do to win. And just before he can continue, he's cut off by the laughing of Joker in the bed, which startles Batman for a second, because just a minute ago, we all thought he was good as dead, but Alfred says it's just a physical response. Most people gasp, but apparently Joker laughs and it's very odd. But this takes us to the streets of Gotham City, as we see a lady driving her car on the street, just listening to the radio, and boom, a man just falls onto the car from above, absolutely crushing it. The victim turns out to be Bruce Wayne again, with the cause of death being the fall. But according to Jim Gordon, Bruce seemed to have fallen from a height that isn't possible given the stature of the surrounding building. Jim mentions that the last Bruce Wayne they found actually disintegrated at the morgue, and theorizes that he may have been made of some kind of unstable cell structure, something like dark matter. Harvey then says maybe they're from another dimension, and the Batman who laughs is pulling Bruce Wayne's through from other worlds, and says maybe they appear in this world at the spot they were in their world, meaning this Bruce Wayne was probably high up when he was pulled into this one, which is why he fell from a completely random place in the sky. He then questions why is Bruce Wayne in particular being the one being teleported to this Earth, and what's so special about it, which Jim gives the cover up and reveals that it's actually Batman disguising himself as Bullock, and asks him if he's okay because he seems so off his game, as he's usually pretty good with the disguise thing. But right away they get back in character and start talking about Bruce Wayne, as this one also retired from being Batman around the time Jason Todd died and went full into Wayne Enterprises, taken from the speech in his pocket from celebrating the signing of a federal energy contract. But they do notice that on his chest is a puncture wound, seeming like the Batman who laughs took a blood or tissue sample from the body, and maybe the last one. Batman then explains that cardiac blood has some of the last of the body's cells to die, the most resilient, which means that the Batman who laughs is using the cells to make a serum that infects unaffected people's cells with dark matter, changing them into the person's own darkest visions of themselves, the worst versions of themselves. But before they could continue the conversation, some GCPD officers thought it was a good idea to interrupt and start mouthing off about some of the guys starting a pool based on something Harvey had said the other night about 3 buckets, essentially gambling on how Batman will lose against the Batman who laughs. The first bucket is the Grim Knight takes down Batman, which is the Batman variant that we see in the first issue that has all the guns. The second bucket being the Batman who laughs kills Batman himself, but before you can say what the third bucket was, the Joker toxin starts to take over Batman as he goes absolutely berserk over the officer and curses him out as they were just discussing a case and the officer just interrupted for a dumb reason. Jim does manage to calm him down and assures him that Harvey is in Batman's corner, even though he does belittle him to the men to make them feel more important. Batman then brushes off the entire interaction and tells Gordon that he needs to show him something, specifically an old map of Gotham. Batman then explains that after the plague wiped out a third of the city in 1780, the country set up a system called the Last Laugh, which was a means of blowing the entryways and vaccinating the entire city with airships, reservoirs of food and water hidden deep below the streets. Batman then says that he actually learned about this while fighting the Court of Owls, and after Joker's last attack, he started building his own Last Laugh. He says it's a final defense against any chemical or biological attack, a way of dealing off the city, purifying air and water, and restoring Gotham's health independently, and reveals that the central hub is located within Wayne Tower, to which we transitioned exactly there, as we see a security guard on the job where we see the Batman who laughs greeting him with the entire interaction being completely normal, like the guard actually thinks he's Bruce Wayne. But as we see at the end of the panel, the Batman who laughs is able to control what people people see, and in this instance makes people see him as Bruce Wayne. But the craziest thing is that in this panel, the guard is expressing how grateful he is that Bruce gave him this job, and Lily said in the BWL's face that he's one of the good guys, as in the very next panel he just slaughters the entire Wayne Tower security team. But before he could deal any more damage in the building, Batman finally arrives and meets the Batman Who Laughs face to face, and as soon as Batman goes for an attack on him, he realizes that BWL is quicker, leaner, and faster than him. But Batman is of course stronger and just throws out every fighting technique he's ever learned out the window, since BWL knows it all and sees it coming. So Batman whips out a random technique that he made up himself called Bam Pow, named appropriately by Alfred, as this attack actually gets BWL and gets him put onto the floor. But before Batman could put an end to his plans, the Grim Knight shoots Batman in the chest from a building far from Wayne Tower, and according to BWL, the bullet he shot contains a bat taser in it. He then goes on to explain the Grim Knight's backstory, as he said that he's actually Bruce Wayne if Joe Chill dropped the gun in that alleyway and Bruce picked it up. He's the deadliest man alive, as everything he has on his world is completely weaponized. BWL then goes over to the wall to dismantle the last laugh by means of a special protocol, which would be demolishing the building in itself in a controlled explosion. Batman attempts to abort the protocol with his voice, which the Batman Who Laughs says that the bat taser lodged in Batman's chest also disrupts sound waves so the protocol can't hear him. He also tries to belittle Batman, as he says that out of all the versions of Bruce he's bringing into the world, this Batman is the most miserable, the least accomplished, the bad joke out of all the Batmen in the multiverse, as BWL manages to jump out of the window along with Batman following right after, as the entire building explodes, as Batman describes that the explosion shakes the city, and then silence. That terrible silence before the screaming starts, which takes us back to the Batcave as Batman screams at Alfred to get Joker up now. Alfred insists that he's still recovering and that the drugs are what is keeping him asleep. And just like before, while Joker is sleeping, his body's natural reaction is laughing rather than breathing, which Batman obviously forgets and thinks he's actually laughing at him. But to our surprise, Joker isn't actually asleep, but is fully aware and awake in this moment and asks Batman over and over again what BWL's plan is and that he needs to know. Joker then admits that he doesn't know, but he does know the only person that does. Which brings us to the end of the issue as we are taken to a local food mart in Gotham City, where we're met with Jim Gordon going over to a man with the hat on as he says to Gordon that he's not supposed to be here. Gordon then says that he knows but it's important and reveals that there's a monster on the loose and that they need his help, as Gordon finally reveals that the person who will help them stop the Batman Who Laughs is none other than his son, James Gordon Jr., which ends the second issue in the story and this video for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this comic and are enjoying the story so far, because it's getting super interesting. So let me know in the comments down below if you want more, and even so, I'm still probably going to cover the rest of this comic because it gets really good. As in the next issues, we get introduced as to why James Jr. is tied in with all this and the real backstory of the Grim Knight, as we haven't seen much about him up to this point. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button because I post videos just like this one every single week, and hit the notification bell to keep up with my weekly upload. Click on the bat symbol to check out the last video I uploaded, and click out to the video to the right of that to check out the video I think you'll like on my channel, because if you like this one, you'll definitely like that video. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you all next week in another video. Peace!